How's everybody doing out there today? Well, I have a treat for you. I've been getting lots of mail. I've been getting lots of requests for the geologic time. Okay, this is a long, long time. So what we're going to do today is we're going to kind of break it down a little bit, okay? You ready? Alright, because this history of Earth is so long, I'm going to play a little song for you that explains the eons and the eras and the periods and the epochs. Now, not every eon has an era, period, and epochs in them, so it gets a little confusing, so I'm going to explain that now, okay? Alright. There are 4 different eons in the history of the Earth. Hadean came first but didn't have any eras, periods, or epochs. Archean came next and it has 4 eras, Eo and Paleo and Meso and Neo-Archean. There are 3 different Proterozoic eras in the Proterozoic eon. They are Paleo and Meso and Neo. The Phanerozoic eon has 3 different eras. They are the Paleozoic, Mesozoic, and Cenozoic. The Paleozoic has different periods. The oldest is Cambrian, then Ordovician, then Silurian, then Devonian, then Mississippian, then Pennsylvanian, then Permian. The Mesozoic has 3 different periods. The Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous. The Cenozoic has 3 different periods. The oldest is Paleogene, then Neogene, then Quaternary. This is where the tale gets a little tricky, 'cause the Cenozoic also has epochs. The Paleogene has 3 different epochs. The Paleocene, Eocene, and the Oligocene. The Neogene has the Miocene and the Pleistocene. And then the Quaternary has the Pliocene and the Holocene, which is where we are now. Well, alrighty, I guess that kind of puts things into perspective a little bit. It's a little wordy. It is a little wordy of a song, okay? But right now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at just kind of put that time into perspective. So 4.6 billion years is a heck of a long time, don't you think? I think so. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at what that looks like in a year, okay? So we've got this little chart here. So 4.6 billion years is going to equal 365 days, according to our chart. Alright, so we've got January 1st. Alright, so here you can see the Hadean kind of goes until the middle of February. And now the Hadean, was the beginning of the Earth. It was the time when the Earth was born, okay? And it wasn't pretty. Wasn't a pretty time, alright? The oceanic crust was forming, the continental crust was forming, and it was just a rough time for the Earth, okay? We were just being born, okay? So that's hard. Alright, then we go into the Archean eons, okay? And we've got these 4 different eras of the Archean eon, okay? And this lasts a long time. So if the Hadean's over in February, this Archean eon isn't over until the middle of June. What? That is a long time. Alright, so the Archean eon is split into 4 different eras, okay? The Eo-Archean It's the first era since the Earth hardened and cool. Okay, so you've got this crazy Earth being all wild and stuff and hot. And then you come under the Eoarchean, and it's the first era since the Earth cooled, alright? And it's also the first time in our history where we have solid rock surviving because it's cool, right? Okay, then we go into the Paleoarchean era, alright? And the Paleoarchean, we believe, is for the first time in our history, the very first time, we see that life has formed. Just a little tiny bacteria, and it was discovered in Australia a long, long time ago. Alright, then we go to the Mesoarchean, which is this little orange bit right here. And that is where we have stromatolites forming during this era. Alright, and then the Neoarchean is where we have photosynthesis beginning. Well, this is just crazy. So we're already in June. That is just crazy. Alright, now that we've finished the Archean, we're going to go into the Proterozoic. Okay, I realize this is kind of hard to see, so what I'll do is at the end I'll kind of bring it forward so you can see it, alright? Alright, so the Paleoproterozoic is where we have our first multi-celled eukaryotes. It's also where we've got some continents are crashing into each other and mountains are building and the subduction and things like that going on. So it's kind of a crazy time in history. Then we go to the Mesoproterozoic, which is this orange part, if you can see it, this orange part right here. That is where Rodinia, our supercontinent, forms. This is the peak of those stromatolites, like, that are forming the oxygen, alright? Then we go into the Neoproterozoic. We have some severe glaciation going on. It is cold, alright? We create what we call, they call it the snowball Earth, alright? And then we got some multi-cell organisms evolving, and this is where Rodinia, our giant supercontinent, starts to break up. Okay, so as you can see, the Archean and the Proterozoic take up a long period in time, okay? You got this long all the way over here. Now we're in November, middle of November already. And we've still got 3 different eras to get through, okay? So these make up about 87% of our Earth's history. That is a long, long time, okay? Alright, now we're going to go into the Paleozoic era. I'm going to get into the Cambrian. The Cambrian was when the continents split up and the seas formed between them. So most of the life that was there was in the seas, alright? And then we got Laurentia and Baltica and Gondwana on the bottom and Siberia up on the top. And there were 4 different continents. Those were the 4 different continents. We also have the Cambrian explosion during this time, alright? There is a lot of diverse, different kind of organisms forming, and that's where we get all the crazy fossils in the Burgess Shale. Okay, there is, the next one is Ordovician. And it is where the Opidus Sea is shrinking because Laurentia and Baltica are coming together. And the tectonic orogeny that's forming volcanic islands is crashing into Laurentia and it's forming these Appalachian mountains. You also got brachiopods and cephalopods and mollusks during this time period. Then we go into Silurian. You got Gondwana moving south and Laurentia come together by the equator. And there's warm temperatures, which is kind of crazy sometimes to think about that. And then we got large terrestrial fossils that are being found in this area. Unfortunately, this period ends in mass extinction. Too sad. Too sad. Alright, then we got the Devonian. Devonian is hot. It is hot. You got forests forming on land. This is known as the Age of Fish. Lots of fish. We got also another extinction occurring at the end of this one. Lots of extinction. Alright kids, stick with me because we're almost done. We're about right here. Alright, we're in December already, but we still got all these different periods and epochs to get through, okay? So we're at the Mississippian. The Mississippian was a warm climate. There were ferns. There were lots of large insects and some freshwater fish, and coal is forming but there's also some giant amphibians, alright? Alright, now we're moving on to the Pennsylvania. It is right in here. In the Pennsylvania, we got Pangea forming. Y'all heard of Pangea, right? Where the continents collide, there's mountain building, and there's giant insects and ferns during the Pennsylvania. The Permian, which is right in here, is where our forests are going to be replaced with dry deserts. Who would have thought? We got some turtles and some archosaurs and lepidopters, and Pangea is surrounded by this giant ocean. Alright, now we're going to get up in the Mesozoic. Alright, we're going to start with the Triassic period. This is where we've got a pretty large extinction happening, alright? We got, actually it's probably the largest extinction in history, which is just pretty darn crazy. It's hot and dry climate, and this is where the dinosaurs, my little friend T-Rex over here, this is where the dinosaurs are going to evolve, and the first mammals are going to appear. Huh, crazy, huh? Alright, then we get into the Jurassic period, which is right in here, getting closer to the end of December. Pangea is completely broken up at this time, and we got some major groups of dinosaurs evolving during this time. Alright, then we're going to go to the Cretaceous period. This is a crazy time. Alright, the Cretaceous period is where the dinosaurs became extinct. We've also got our continents that we've got here today. They're kind of forming now. Starting to form up in there. Alright, now we're going to move into the Paleogene period, okay? We're going to start with the Paleocene. We've got the Pacific Ocean getting smaller and the Atlantic Ocean is getting bigger. And we got this Earth that is devastated by this asteroid impact, right? This big giant asteroid hit the Earth. But we've also got some flowering plants flourishing, so I guess that's kind of crazy, huh? Okay, then we go to the Eocene. We got some continents continuing to separate. The ones that we've got today, they're continuing to move apart and get into their places. We've also got some warmer climates. We got the greenhouse effect. We got mammals becoming abundant. And we've got some elephants and some whales. I don't know if the elephants really had trunks at that time, but maybe, I don't know. Alright, then we go into the Oligocene. Alright, Oligocene is where our climate starts to cool down, alright? We got some primates, some elephants with trunks, and some grasses and even some deciduous trees going on here. Alright, to end that little period, we're going to go into the Miocene. The Miocene is the beginning of the Neogene period, alright? The Miocene is where India collides with Eurasia to form the Himalayas, alright? We got the Rockies and the Andes, and they're continuing to form. And then we got ice caps forming on the poles, okay? And most of our modern animals and carnivores and things like that are here. They're here on the Earth during this time. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. Alright. Now we got the Pliocene, which is the end of the Neogene period. And it's the Pliocene epoch. Alright. And this is where the continents and the oceans and the current oceans and huge waterfalls fill the Mediterranean Sea. And all of our modern plants and animals are around. But we also have some land bridges between all these different continents. So you got some, some camels walking across the land to get to places that normally wouldn't have camels. That's kind of crazy. Let's see here. Pleistocene, excuse me. The Pleistocene is our first epoch of our Quaternary period, alright? We got some major glaciation happening, alright? It's going to cover about 30% of the Earth, alright? Sea levels drop because the ice is forming. We got some large animals, and we got some pre-humans using tools, and this is where our first modern humans are going to appear during the Pleistocene. Right. And our last epoch that we're in right now is the Holocene. Alright? This is where our climate is warming, We've got, probably due to some industrial use of humans, and we've got some, our human civilization is dominating, alright? So, then we're here. That's the end. So you got all this time is way back in time, right? And then all these other little periods and epochs and eras are happening in just this amount of time. So you got January is the Hadean to the middle of February. Middle of February and the middle of March is about the Eoarchean. The middle of March to the middle of April is about Paleoarchean. The Mesoarchean goes until about the middle of May. The middle of May to the middle of June is the Neoarchean, and then we get in the Proterozoic. The Proterozoic, the Paleoproterozoic, goes until from June, middle of June, all the way to the middle of August, right? Maybe kind of the end of August. And then you got the Mesoproterozoic, which goes from August all the way to the beginning of October. And then you got the Neoproterozoic going from the middle of October all the way to the middle of November. And then all these little tiny little ones are from November to December 31st. That is just crazy that all this history ends, and then all of this little time right here is just in November and December. I know you, but I am tired. I learned a lot today about the history of the Earth, and I think it's time to take a little midday nap, alright? Before I do, I just want to let you know I'm selling these cool shirts. I love rocks. If you want to go to my website at sadiemantree.iloverocks.com, that will get you a free t-shirt, actually, and I'll ship it to you if you want. But thank you for listening, and have a good day.